Welcome to the Cozy Cauldron. Tonight we'll be reading from the Dark Feminine. We're actually on our way to India, and we'll be reading a story named Kali. Raze it to the ground. The battlefield had been laid waste by the vicious fighting between Durga and the demon Raktabija. Even the sun took fright and hid behind the dark clouds that rumbled overhead. The gods had called upon Durga to slay this arrogant demon who had been brought to bring chaos to the universe. They had entrusted this mission to her, and she would accomplish it. Slice after slice, with her multiple weapons in many hands, Durga wounded the terrifying demon and strove to land the final blow. She would not stop until he was slain, but still, Raktabija lay on his back laughing with a hideous shriek that made the very earth move. His mouth of jagged daggers with teeth glistened with blood. His cruel eyes showed no fear of Durga. She took a step back, not knowing why he found this battle so amusing. His belly trembled, streaks of blood oozing from his cut flesh. The crimson droplets rolled slowly onto the earth like parasites looking for a host. Crying with laughter, the demon made his own wounds gape open and bleed even more. It was as if he had been planning this all along. And then Durga understood. She should have known this vile creature would find a way to cause more mischief and make himself undefeatable. With every drop of blood that wet the earth, the small figure was forming, first a head, then an arm, then a leg, until it became clear there were more than one Raktabija. He was building an army of Raktabijas. Attempting to kill the demon would only ensure his survival. He looked at Durga, his face smug. You see, there is no defeating me. Even a goddess like you is not superior to me. You will all be mine to command. He looked toward the sky where he knew the gods listened and watched with bated breath. Do you hear me? All of you, he cried, his voice pure vitriol. More and more demons sprung from the ground, ready to fight for their master. They gnashed their fangs and fought amongst themselves, their very nature to be agents of chaos. Fighting was in their blood. The universe depended on Durga's victory, but she knew she could not do this alone. A truly formidable challenger was needed for this impossible task. She fixed her gaze upon the hideous demon and narrowed her eyes, focusing all her attention on stopping him. The flesh between her eyes began to ripple and morph, like the belly of a woman heavy with child. First a hand could be seen, and then the outline of a head. Durga squeezed her eyes shut, the folds of her forehead becoming more pronounced. A slit of flesh became a deep, dark well, and from the darkness within Durga's body, Kali pushed through, flesh and skin, and tumbled to the ground. Her loose, wild, black hair covered her naked body until the newborn goddess rose to her feet. Jet black skin glistened with the dew of birth, and she carried a noose and a sword in her hands. Kali's eyes glowed with incandescent red fury and darted from one demon to another. The demons stared at her, poised to attack. The goddess opened her mouth and let her thick red tongue emerge from between her lips. Snarls and growls rose from the demons as they felt her threat. Raktabija glared at Kali. I am not afraid of any god, and I am certainly not afraid of you, he hissed. He wiped his mouth and flung the blood onto the ground. More demons wiggled out of the earth like starved maggots on a carcass. Hungry for destruction, Kali set upon the small demons sprouting from the soil. One by one, she began to devour them with an insatiable rage. Her sword severed limbs and heads, bones crunched between her teeth as she consumed flesh and blood with the urgency of the starved. The more she ate, the faster she whirled, steam rising from her skin. The gluttony of blood and flesh fed her lust to destroy all before her. Her appetite was all she knew now. Her eyes had become mirrors of chaos. The path had to be cleared, and Kali was the agent of destruction. It was what she had been birthed to do. The remaining demons ran toward Raktabija, fear now in his eyes. As she neared him, Kali licked her lips with her long red tongue and swung her blood-smeared sword. She picked up her pace, snatching up the demons like insects. Some she chewed and others she swallowed whole. None could get close enough to inflict harm upon her without becoming a meal themselves. Their numbers thinned, and the din of their hisses and shrieks quieted until only Raktabija was left. Thunder clapped, within ink-black clouds as dark as her skin. The storm raged along with Kali. "You can't just eat me. You're not that powerful," the demon screamed in disbelief. This only enraged Kali more. She raised the noose and swung it into the air, gathering the winds like a whirlpool above their heads. As he tried to crawl away, she sent the noose looping toward him and caught his foot. With one hard yank toward her, Raktabija lay at her feet. Kali's tongue lapped up, the demon blood dribbling from her chin. "I will kill you," Raktabija shouted. He bared his claws and attempted to disembowel her, but he could not match her speed. She grabbed his head, her fingers digging into his flesh. His eyes bulged as she squeezed harder. In a single bite, she removed his head and drank the fountain of blood spewing from his neck. The demon's body became a loose sack of skin as she devoured him before any other demon could be created. After every drop of blood had been drunk, she ate up what remained of him. Her belly growled as Raktabija was ingested inside her. The demon gone, Kali's blood still boiled with lust. She thrashed around in search of more destruction, her sword and noose flying through the air in her frenzy. The earth shook with each step she took. Her rage had gathered an unstoppable momentum, threatening the peace that had been created by the death of Raktabija. Her fury was great enough to destroy the universe. "What do we do?" Durga cried out, her words lost amid the thunderclaps of Kali's earth-shattering stomps. None of the gods answered except one. Shiva appeared beside Durga and gave her a knowing look. Without a word, he ran toward Kali and lay down in her path. He closed his eyes and lay placidly on his back, his serpent coiled peacefully around his arm. Kali lifted 1 foot high in the air to crush the god, but when she looked upon his face, she recognized her husband. Her fury left her body as her foot touched the bear's skin. The storm overhead subsided, the tornado calming to a breeze. Rays of sunlight broke through the clouds. Kali's body ceased its trembling, and her arms fell to her sides. For the time being, all was safe as it should be. The demon was defeated. Shiva had bestowed his sense of peace upon Kali, and balance was restored. Durga looked around at the wasteland created by the battle. This place had been razed to the ground, and it was now offered the promise of new creation. Kali, born for destruction. Kali is often depicted in Hindu art as she appears at the end of the story. She stands over Shiva with 1 foot on his chest, following her victory over Raktabija and the subsiding of her bloodlust. Shiva is Kali's counterpart and is associated with the color white, while she is either ink, black, or blue. She has 3 eyes, and at times she either has 10 arms or only 4. She always wears a garland of decapitated heads around her neck and a skirt of severed arms. An exposed thick red tongue and fierce eyes to match add to her ferocious look, as does her wild hair, always loose and flowing behind her. She carries a severed head and a plate to collect the dripping blood. She is also known to carry a sword and a trident. However, centuries before becoming a goddess in her own right, fearsome Kali was merely one of the 7 black tongues of the greater fire god called Agni. The legend of Kali and Raktabija is a powerful one because Kali is the goddess of death and destruction. In Sanskrit, the root of her name means time or black. Time is certainly our destroyer as we die with age, but Kali can also bring death to the ego in order for us to transcend the trappings of this world. It is no wonder she is worshipped as cremation grounds, as is Shiva. However, Kali does not only represent death, she is also seen as a strong mother figure and is worshipped as a protector. In Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the gruesome Thuggee cult participates in human sacrifice in Kali's name. She is actually portrayed in the film, but we are given the impression she is not good, as good would be defined in the simple terms of a figure such as the Virgin Mary. There is no question about Mary's goodness. no duality in her character. An ancient goddess with the power to destroy the universe is anything but simple. If Kali is not good, then she is not evil either. She can't be blamed for her adoption by the Thug-E cult, and in any case, historians now question whether those murderous Kali-worshipping bandits ever really existed, or whether they were just a colonial fabrication. Kali is an emanation of Shakti, embodying creation through destruction, and Durga, who we learn more about later in this book, is also associated with it. One who possesses Shakti cannot be limited to an unitary description or a single purpose. Shakti is feminine energy at work and mother goddess from which all flows. Shakti is creation, destruction, and movement springing from the divine feminine. Kali, embodying Shakti, transcends time and death, but she is also part of them. Kali's ancient origins are described in the Rig Veda. To immerse yourself further in her lore, you can explore the Devi Mahatmya in the Markandeya Purana. Kali is still celebrated across the globe today, offering her devotees empowerment and solace. Kali wisdom. Do not fear endings. Do not fear the smell of ash nor the smoke rising from the ruins. Nothing lasts forever. See each ending as an opportunity for something new, and possibly something even better than you can imagine right now. We can use the ancient concept of Shakti to give ourselves the full agency of our minds and bodies to fulfill our dreams. Shakti gives us the courage to walk our path authentically and feel fearless no matter what challenges may arise. Like Kali, we can use our rage as a creative force to remove obstacles, start a new path, or nurture something deep within that feels like it must burst out of us. The next tale will be Lilith. Thank you.